Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Trek Canon, Bootleg Edition. In Star Trek Enterprise, they put into canon that the Vulcans actually knew about humans and Earth long before the first contact with Zephyr and Cochrane and everything like that, for that whole little situation. Now, that being said, if the Vulcans knew about Earth and was exploring through the Alpha Quadrant, by extension, so did the Romulans. So why didn't the Romulans ever try to take over Earth during that time if they were fully capable of doing so? And this leads me to a thought that I was having. Why didn't the Romulans know about their supernova? Now, you're probably going to think to yourself, what do these two things have in common? Let's see if we can use some events in canon to make a little hypothesis here that I've been kind of thinking about. All right, and the hypothesis is this. Now, at that time in history, the Romulans never took over Earth and a whole lot of the other species in the Alpha Quadrant and the Beta Quadrant because the Romulans at that time were not expansionists. They weren't conquerors. They weren't trying to expand territory, okay? They were kind of pretty much existing on Romulus and kind of, going out exploring, doing stuff like that, having issues, being allied with the Klingons, all that kind of stuff, right? Now, that being said, the Romulans ended up saying, hey, you know what? We need to start expanding. We need to start expanding our territory. We need to start trying to, find other worlds and all that kind of stuff. This was made clear in, say, episodes like Balance of Terror, where they decide, hey, you know what? We're going to start going into Federation space and seeing what kind of capabilities they have to see if they're able to stop us from expanding. All right. Come find out, Kirk was able to do that. And the Romulans was like, okay, well, let's kind of retreat just a little bit and everything like that. And they kind of stopped expanding. The Federation, everything really didn't hear anything about, from the Romulans for quite some time until a few years later. And when I say a few years later, probably 80 something years later in the Next Generation. And what did the Romulans say in the Next Generation? Yo, you're going to be hearing a lot from us now, okay? We've been real quiet, for a while, but now you're finna be hearing a lot from us. We finna go back to our expansionist conquering ways, okay? So pretty much that's what the Romulans decided to do. They started going back to their expansionist ways, trying to conquer territories, take over other planets and all that stuff. Now, here's the thing. Why did they start flipping and flopping back and forth between staying, secluded to their system and just, exploring and having their little small skirmishes to deciding, hey, we're going to break off relationships with the Klingons. We're going to start trying to go to war with the Federation. We're going to start trying to destabilize the alliance between the Federation and the Klingons and everything like that so that we can make those races weaker so that we can basically take over. Now, the thing is, something stopped the Romulans from doing that again. And that was some of their colonies that they start setting up towards the, Delta Quadrant start coming up missing. And come to find out, the Borg was stopping them from expanding in that direction. So what did they do? They say, hey, you know what we're going to do? We can't expand this way. We're going to try to do something with going towards the Gamma Quadrant. But the Founders was over there. And that wasn't working out all that well. And the Federation and Klingons alliance was right. So they say, hey, you know what? We are not going to join the war. We're not capable of joining the war right now. We need to find a place to, we need to find a way to do some stuff because this whole little war thing, we don't have the resources right now to do that. And as you should know, the Romulans aren't punks. They're not cowards, everything like that. So it was a reason they decided, hey, you know what? We don't have the resources to join the war right now, okay? But that whole little situation with Cisco, kind of forced their hand, right? From the episode The Pale Moonlight. Now, if you think about it, the Romulans got into that situation with the Dominion War and all of that stuff, and then Shenzai ended up eliminating the government. Now, why is this important? End up eliminating the Romulan Senate. Why is this important? Because I believe that the Romulan government knew for years, like a very long time, that their sun was about to go supernova, right? And that's what started their expansionists away from Romulus to try to inhabit other systems and try to gain control of other systems. But because the Romulans are proud and everything like that, they didn't really want to tell nobody that, hey, we ended up basically wanting to become refugees because like the Cleons, that's not their way. It's not their culture, right? So they was like, okay, we're going to keep this away from the citizens. We're going to keep this away from everybody. And the government was kind of like, okay, well, we're going to camouflage this as expanded. But Shinzan eliminated the government, right? And I'm pretty sure Shinzan didn't know anything about their son going supernova because of his situation, being with the Remans and all that kind of stuff, being, a whole little clone slave thing working in the mines. Right. So now the whole new Romulan Senate takes over and everything like that after Shinzan is messed up. And then they don't have enough time to do anything after they discover that what's going on really with their son. So they ask the Federation for help, in which Spock says, hey, you know what? I'm going to go over here with this red matter and everything like that. And we know what happened in that situation. So I like to put into a hypothesis that the Romulan government knew all along that their son was about to go supernova, right? They tried to do everything in their power to expand, get their resources and their people away from their home planet of Romulus, away from their system and everything like that, to protect their species for when their son did go nova, right? But because of all the situations going on with the various wars, the Federation and Klingon alliance, the Borg incursions and everything like that, they forced hand into the Dominion War, and Shinzan's, whole little elimination of the people who knew, they didn't have enough time to evacuate Romulus the way that they really wanted to. Anyway, that was just my little quick, little theory based on canon and everything like that. Let me know what you guys think of this hypothesis, and if I probably missed some stuff in my thought process when dealing with canon. Let me know what you guys think as far as if I'm, whatever. And thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And as always, peace, recycle, and say the whales. You guys be